Hello, students, and welcome back to class. I want to say a quick word about communication. Communicating back and forth, teacher and student, very important as the semester progresses. Make sure you're checking your email every day. That's how we communicate with each other. Also, keep an eye on our Canvas page. You should check it every day as well. Check your grades, look for announcements, make sure there's no assignments that you're missing. Keep up that great work. In this video, we'll continue practicing our fraction problems. In number 1, we're adding mixed numbers. Let's start by changing them into improper fractions. That's 2 times 3 plus 1. And 4 times 6 plus 1. Now when I add fractions, I must have a common denominator. But let's keep the common denominator as small as possible. I'll check to see if the small denominator divides evenly into the big denominator. And since it does, 3 divides into 6. That makes 6 a good common denominator. Now get your numerators. What do you multiply times 3 to get 6? Is 2. Multiply the numerator by 2. What do you multiply times 6 to get itself? Is 1. Multiply the numerator by 1. Now keep the common denominator. Add those numerators. And then change it back into a mixed number. 6 goes into 39 6 times with 3 left over. That's a pretty good answer. Finally, I'm going to notice that 3 over 6 reduces. Divide by 3 and divide by 3, and my best answer is 6 1/2. In number 2, let me take the whole number 7 and make it look like a fraction by putting it over 1. Now change 5 1/6 into an improper fraction. When I subtract, I need common denominators. Since 1 divides evenly into 6, 6 works just fine. Numerators, what do you multiply times 1 to get 6? Is 6. And what do you multiply times 6 to get itself? Is 1. Keep that common denominator. Subtract those numerators. Then change the improper fraction back into a mixed number. 6 goes into 31 5 times with 1 left over. When I multiply with mixed numbers, I'll first change them into improper fractions. Copy 3/16 and change 2 2/9 into an improper fraction. That's 2 times 9 plus 2. Now before I multiply, I'll try to reduce. Any top with any bottom. I notice the 3 and the 9 reduce nicely. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. 16 and 20, those are both divisible by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Now multiply the tops, 1 times 5, and multiply the denominators, 4 times 3. 5 over 12, that's a great answer. Number 4, let's again start by changing these into improper fractions. 1 times 5 plus 3. And 3 times 3 plus 1. I'll copy the 8/5 and change division into multiplication by taking the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now look to reduce before you multiply, but never reduce side to side, only tops and bottoms. I notice the 8 and the 10 are both divisible by 2. Now multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. Beautiful. When we evaluate expressions, we replace the variables with an open set of parentheses. Then plug in. For x, 2/5. For y, -1/3. I should multiply before I subtract. Let's think of this 3 as a fraction. It's 3/1. Nothing reduces top and bottom, so we'll multiply tops and bottoms. Multiply the numerators, 3 times 2. Multiply the denominators, 1 times 5. Here I've got subtraction of a -3. I know when I subtract a negative, that's the same as adding. I'll rewrite that as +1/3. Now I'm adding fractions, so common denominator. 5 and 3 both go nicely into 15. To get the numerators, what do you multiply times 5 to get 15 is 3. And what do you multiply times 3 to get 15? That's 5. Now keep the common denominator, add up the numerators, and on these problems, it's okay to leave your answer as an improper fraction. Let's try number 6. Rewrite the problem using parentheses instead of variables. Oops. Now plug in for x and plug in for y. I should use my exponent before I add. 2/5 squared, take the 2 and square it, 2 times 2. Take the 5 and square it, 5 times 5. And then we'll copy the plus -1/3. Now common denominator. 25 and 3 both go into 75. What do you multiply times 25 to get 75? That's 3. And what do you multiply times 3 to get 75? That's 25. Now keep the common denominator and combine +12 with -25. Great. All right, your turn. Go practice those fraction problems. I'll see you later on today.